Welcome to the Golden Seams, where we, Gabe and Michae, your hosts, invite you to join us on a transformative journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Our podcast is all about helping you uncover your authentic self, find your true calling, and create prosperity in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations.
We're embarking on the realm of self-love and self-worth, guided by the illuminating wisdom of Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. Prepare to challenge societal expectations and embrace your authentic self as we delve into this groundbreaking work that has touched millions of lives worldwide. Through Brown's expertise for wholehearted living, we'll discover together how to let go of who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we truly are. Welcome to Guidepost 8, Cultivating Calm and Stillness, Letting Go of Anxiety as a Lifestyle.
Brené starts out the guidepost by sharing that in many ways, anxiety was a constant in her life. And it got so bad that a few times she literally fell over. She realized she needed a new way to stay on her feet when she was really anxious. She said, "I don't need to figure out a way to keep going with this level of anxiety. I need to figure out how to be less anxious." That silence thing can be effective. It's a pain in the ass, but nonetheless effective. I used my research to formulate a plan to lessen my anxiety. The people I interviewed weren't anxiety-free or even anxiety-averse. They were anxiety-aware. They were committed to a way of living where anxiety was a reality, but not a lifestyle. They did this by cultivating calm and stillness in their lives and making these practices the norm. Calm and stillness may sound like the same things, but I learned that they are different and that we need both.
Brené says, I define calm as creating perspective and mindfulness while managing emotional reactivity. When I think about calm people, I think about people who can bring perspective to complicated situations and feel their feelings without reacting to heightened emotions like fear and anger. Brené shares with us that she always wanted to be a calm parent. She said, "This is my goal. I want to be a calm parent," and that surprisingly, she is a pretty calm parent. Not because it comes naturally to her, she says, but because she practices. Her husband is an incredible role model. By watching him, I've learned about the value of bringing perspective and quiet to difficult situations, Brené says. Then she goes on to tell us, I try to be slow to respond and quick to think. Do we even have all the information we need to make a decision or form a response? I also stay very mindful about the effect that calm has on an anxious person or situation. A panicked response produces more panic and more fear. As psychologist and writer Harriet Lerner says, anxiety is extremely contagious, but so is calm. The question becomes, do we want to infect people with more anxiety or heal ourselves and the people around us with calm?
Brené tells us that if we choose to heal with calm, we have to commit to practicing calm. Small things matter. For example, before we respond, we can count to 10 or give ourselves permission to say, "I'm not sure. I need to think about this some more." It's also extremely effective to identify the emotions that are the most likely to spark your reactivity and then practice non-reactive responses. Unless we had calm modeled by our parents and grew up practicing it, it's unlikely that it will be our default response to anxious or emotionally volatile situations. For me, breathing is the best place to start. Just taking a breath before I respond slows me down and immediately starts spreading calm. Sometimes I actually think to myself, I'm dying to freak out here. Do I have enough information to freak out? Will freaking out help? The answer is always no.
Gabe, so how do you practice non-reactive responses?
It's not always easy, but in a meditation I realized that it takes two to tango. And I was playing through in my head, I was trying to sit there and be still, and I kept replaying these situations at work and at home I was living through, and I realized how I was engaging and taking the bait for a trigger, whatever it was, and then I was going in like a choreographed dance. And the patterns were really similar. I've had multiple of this with XYZ at work, at my house, and my parents, my brothers, whatever, my siblings. And then in that moment, I realized there's a certain level of choosing, and I didn't like the dance or how it felt to do that dance. So it was easier after I had that meditation. The next time I was invited to join in that dance, it felt different than a knee-jerk reaction, like a reflex test at the doctor, and it felt more like an invitation to a dance and then just like not taking their hand and choosing how to navigate a little different. That's one way.
So you made the decision ahead of time after you saw the solution in your meditation.
Yes, I prepared
Mm,
a response instead of leaving it to reflex.
So you weren't reacting anymore.
Yes. And I allowed myself to accept that that was what was happening, because what was happening was I was denying that that was a pattern or not seeing it. And then it was catching me by surprise. And the surprise is what left me vulnerable to the reaction and the reflex.
Mm,
So by recognizing it and like in that meditation, I think it kept playing in my mind because I was so exhausted from it. What is this? What is this? And then I was like, oh, there is this pinball energy. And that's what is unpleasant. It's never the subject. It's never the person. It was a pinball that would just go get out of control. And I learned
mm,
I could neutralize at least part of it. Sometimes the other person would still have an argument with themselves, but I felt less out of control in
mm.
it.
Wow, that's great. I find that I'm able to hold myself steady until I get roped in after I've been worn down. Wearing me down is what gets me. I find too that I have to breathe and I will actually like chant, everything's fine, everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's fine, or something like this in my head or under my breath if things are really bad. It's all going to be okay. I will say that because I happen to agree when she says, I'm dying to freak out here. Do I have enough information to freak out? Will freaking out help? The answer is always no. Oh my gosh. It just never helps. It escalates it.
I trick myself into thinking it feels good in the moment. It's almost like it's something I can do in the face of the adversity or the surprise. It's like some reaction to it, which tricks the brain into thinking it's a resolve.
It's all ego.
Yeah,
Because when we engage negatively, nobody wins. We don't win. They don't win. Nobody wins. There are no winners, period. End of story. There are no winners. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. To fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting, or he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight.
we welcome you to join our growing community and dive deeper into the topics you love. Experience the Golden Seams on Patreon and unlock the complete experience for yourself now. For full-length discussions, exclusive content, and easy-to-use tools designed to effortlessly support your authentic transformation, subscribe to our Patreon, The Golden Seams. Brené goes on to stillness. She tells us, I resisted even hearing people describe stillness as an integral part of their wholehearted journey. From meditation and prayer to regular periods of quiet reflection and alone time, the research participants spoke about the necessity of quieting their bodies and minds as a way to feel less anxious and overwhelmed. Brené then tells us she had a really hard time with meditation because it made her feel like a poser and felt inauthentic when she was practicing. She told us she would be thinking, I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not thinking about anything, milk, laundry detergent, stop. Okay, not thinking, oh man, is it over yet? And it was actually very funny the way she described it because it was relatable. She tells us she doesn't want to admit it, but the truth is that the stillness used to be very anxiety provoking for her. I resisted even hearing people describe stillness as an integral part of their wholehearted journey. From meditation and prayer to regular periods of quiet reflection and alone time, the research participants spoke about the necessity of quieting their bodies and minds as a way to feel less anxious and overwhelmed.
Brené then gives us the definition of stillness that emerged from her data. Stillness is not about focusing on nothingness. It's about creating a clearing. It's opening up an emotionally clutter-free space and allowing ourselves to feel and think and dream and question. She goes on to say, once we can let go of our assumptions about what stillness is supposed to look like and find a way to create a clearing that works for us, we stand a better chance of opening ourselves up and confronting the next barrier of stillness, fear. And it can be big, big fear. If we stop long enough to create a quiet emotional clearing, the truth of our lives will invariably catch up with us. We convince ourselves that if we stay busy enough and keep moving, reality won't be able to keep up. So we stay in front of the truth about how tired and scared and confused and overwhelmed we sometimes feel. Of course, the irony is that the thing that's wearing us down is trying to stay out in front of feeling worn down. This is the self-perpetuating quality of anxiety. It feeds on itself. I often say that when they start having 12-step meetings for busyaholics, they'll need to rent out football stadiums.
Brené says that from very early in our lives, we get confusing messages about the value of calm and stillness. Parents and teachers scream, "Calm down," and "sit still," rather than actually modeling the behaviors they want to see. So instead of becoming practices that we want to cultivate, calm gives way to perpetuating anxiety, and the idea of stillness makes us feel jumpy.
This reminds me of a story. Before I had my own daughter, my sister has several kids. One of her sons was being really ornery. He came to her and he was upset and he was crying. He wasn't more than 3. He was all angry, carrying on. I remember he was rubbing his eyes. He needed a nap, but he wouldn't go take a nap. And so my sister said, "You're a happy boy. Now go be a happy boy." And she swatted him on the bum. And I looked at her and I go, "What?" Right? And I just mouthed it. And she goes, "Watch." Next thing you know, I look over my shoulder and there's my little 3-year-old nephew playing happily and he's all happy and he's playing. And she goes, "See, it worked." I go, "Your methods are sick."
That is
But
funny.
that's what that reminds me of. Calm down.
You're a happy boy. It's like resetting the switch.
So messed up. Brené closes out this particular section on stillness. As our practices become stronger, anxiety loses its hold, and we gain clarity about what we're doing, where we're going, and what holds true meaning for us. I really do feel this goes back to that filling up your cup. And if you fill up your cup, take that time to create a practice so that you can de escalate the world and allow those solutions to come in the stillness. You create that space, you create that gap, and the calm flows in.
And it's funny because I think after reading this whole chapter, you could almost summarize the whole thing down as to calm is the byproduct of stillness. If you
Yes.
can find a way to create that opening and be still, inevitably you will have calm feelings because with whatever comes up, like she said earlier, what emerged from the stillness sometimes is truth and it can be difficult to sit with. But the only true way to have calm is to be in reality. And the only way we're actually going to get there is by working through what we haven't.
Yes, completely agree. Brené's Dig Deep for Guidepost 8, Get Deliberate. She says her anxiety detox included more calm and more stillness, but it also included more exercise and less caffeine. She goes on to share with us about how several people take a lot of caffeine during the day, and then that's what they need to help them stay awake, but then they also need to take something to help them sleep. She says calm and stillness are potent medicine for general sleeplessness and a lack of energy. Increasing her daily intake of calm and stillness, along with walking and swimming and cutting caffeine, has done wonders for her life.
Brene goes in to get inspired. She shares what she learned from Harriet Lerner's book, The Dance of Connection. Dr. Lerner explains that we all have patterned ways of managing anxiety. Some of us respond to anxiety by overfunctioning, and others by underfunctioning. Overfunctioners tend to move quickly to advise, rescue, take over, micromanage, and get in other people's business, rather than look inward. Underfunctioners tend to get less competent under stress. They invite others to take over and often become the focus of family gossip, worry, or concern. They can get labeled as the irresponsible one, the problem child, or the fragile one. But Dr. Lerner explains that seeing these behaviors as patterned responses to anxiety, rather than truths about who we are, can help us understand that we can change. Brené says that overfunctioners like her can become more willing to embrace their vulnerabilities in the face of anxiety, and underfunctioners can work to amplify their strengths and competencies.
And get going. Brené says experiment with different forms of still and quiet. We all need to find something that works for us. She says, to be honest, she's never more open and emotionally clutter-free than when she's walking alone outside. It's not technically still, but it's an emotional opening for me.
What do you do to cultivate more calm and stillness in your life? Let us know in the comments. I also very much agree with Brené. I have few moments in life that feel more open and emotionally clutter free than when I'm walking in nature. And I think because I kind of have an agitated mind, being somewhere where I get to observe things organically unfolding, watching a bird, listening to a babbling brook, whatever cliche nature experience, it seems to occupy the part of my thinking mind that pulls me out of presence and keeps me in it. Because that way I'm just observing the moment. So I very much also practice that way.
Love nature. It makes me feel alive and revived.
Me too.
We're truly grateful for your presence and participation in this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Remember, your path to authenticity and prosperity is unique, and we're honored to be a part of it. If you found value in today's episode, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, embrace your imperfections and let them be your greatest gifts.
This is Gabe and Michae signing off from the Golden Seams. May you discover the courage to be vulnerable, the compassion to love yourself, and the wisdom to live wholeheartedly. May your path be golden as you find the strength to mend and beautify the broken parts of your life, weaving golden threads through the fabric of your authentic self, just like the art of kintsugi. We'll see you in our next episode.